Hey, in this era of artificial intelligence, you must have used chatbots somewhere, like either you are on a banking website or Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant. You must be using chatbots somewhere. So, what are the chatbots? How they work? I am Sadhna Singh, working as a data science AI ML engineer. I will be helping out you to answer all your queries. So we will discuss how chatbot works, what are the different frameworks available in the market, and what are the skill sets needed for creating a chatbot. So we'll discuss that all the points in details. Let's dive into the systems so that we can practically see how it works. So now let's discuss in detail about what is chatbot. So chatbot basically, in a very layman term, it's a it's kind of a very friendly robot that you talk and that maybe in a text message or maybe in a voice you give certain instructions and that give you the response back. So like the example that you have seen is Amazon Alexa. So what you say, Alexa, play me this song, and Alexa revert you. So you are just passing the command, through voice, and maybe you are delivering, you're talking to some banking board. So you ask like, what is, I want to connect to the executive to discuss about my credit card transactions and something like that. I need to convert my transaction into EMI and all. So how you do? Basically you ask certain questions and that give you the responses. So in a very layman term, chatbot is like a friendly robot that is there in my screen and you talk to using message or voice, and it understand that what you are saying and try to help you with by answering the questions that you are talking about. So now you must be having a query in your mind that how, why, what is AI doing there, what is the role of AI in chatbot. So AI, you consider it's like, it try to understand that what actually user supposed to say, and based on that information what should be the answer. So based on certain algorithms, it understand from the previous conversation, and it return you back based on that. For example, let's say there is a first we see that what is the role of AI in chatbot. So let's say that you talk, chatbot is like working as a textual assistant like the human does. So for example, there is a flower shop. In that, one person was working as a customer care executive, let's say. So that person knows that what type of questions people ask, like do you have this color of flower, what is your at what time your shop opens, and do you deliver at our home as well, so do you take delivery charges. So these are the questions people are asking to that customer care executive that is there on that flower shop. So what that the flower shop owner does, they have created, let's say, one bot. So they already know that what type of questions people supposed to ask and what should be the answer of those questions. So what they does, based on the previous understanding, based on their understanding, the combination of questions and their answer they're coming, they create a computer based program, and they create the questions that user supposed to ask, and they what should be the answer if that is the question. So we have a different way of talking them. I'll be discussing that in detail, what is the intent, what is the responses, the utter, what is entity and all. So these are some kind of a bit technical term now, so we'll discuss those later. So they create those the computer based program in which they understand the text, and they see what should be the response after one if that text is coming. So it's simply like a chatbot is simply like a human brain. So because you have replaced that customer care executive, so in case random questions are coming to that customer care executive, so how they responded. So we cannot program each and everything, like what could be the question and what could be the answer. There are n number of questions people supposed to ask. So in those cases, we call it like out of a scope conversation, which is not into the context of that particular domain. That flower shop domain do have a specific kind of queries in their answers. So if you talk to them, that the bot of that flower shop, that how do you deliver pizzas, Do you have this type of pizza? So that is kind of out of scope question for that boat, that is specific boat. So AI is basically to a kind of a specific the service or product that that any particular company is dealing with. They create their program and they know the questions and their responses as well. So how AI works there, AI learn those patterns, and AI can just using AI, I mean, the machine can be in a situation so that they can predict what could be the next response based on this question. So I'll be telling you that in detail after having certain discussions. So let's talk about now. You understand, you got bit idea like what is chatbot. It's a computer based program which runs on a certain questions, and the responses we programmed in the backend, and if user asks question, we give those responses like that. So in a very simple term, it's like a very simple and friendly robot that gives you the answers of your questions. Correct? Next is, in the market, what type of different frameworks available for creating a chatbot? So we have multiple frameworks available. Few are closed source. For that, for using those, we have to pay the licensing cost, and then we can use it. We have open source as well. So these four are on my screen. You said these. You can see these four are the different frameworks. So you could say the technology is available for creating the chatbot. One is IBM Watson. Other is Rasa. Rasa is open source framework. A Microsoft Bot framework is also available for creating the bots, and the Google Dialogflow. So these are the top-notch player in the market for creating chatbots. So you must have heard a lot about those frameworks. So we will talk. I will start with one framework, which is Rasa. So Rasa is an open source framework, which is uh, which we use first for creating end-to-end chatbot using Rasa framework. Before creating the chatbot, first we need to understand that what is Rasa. So Rasa, as I said, it's a open source framework for creating chatbot, in which you don't need to write a very code from the scratch. So it by default give you certain the files available in which, and the samples how you can create certain intent entities and all. Again, these terms are kind of a bit technical. We talk about those later. So Rasa chatbot is a conversational AI in which there are two important things like Rasa NLU and Rasa core. We'll discuss that as well in detail. So Rasa, as I said, it's a conversational AI, machine learning conversational AI, which help us to build a chatbot. So you must have a query like maybe there are prerequisite skill set required for creating chatbot, or specifically the Rasa one. So I say that if you know the basic Python and you have a bit understanding of NLP, that how NLP work, the natural language programming, what are the entities, intent, and word embedding, what is tokenization, how vectors work there. So you should know how these things, these basic things works, so that you understand the flow of creating chatbots, how text comes and how it vectorized, how they create the vectors out of it, how they generate a response, how they predict next the response out of it. So something like that, you should have that understanding. It's we create some customizations, we write certain custom actions there in Rasa, so in which you required a kind of bit programming. But I could say that it's not like very typical programming involved. If you know the basics of Python and the core Python stuff and basics of NLP, you do have that understanding, you can build the chatbot. So I will see that step by step. So in Rasa, there are two frameworks available. One is Rasa NLU. Rasa NLU is completely the natural language understanding. What NLU does, it does the classification of intent, and it extracts the entity from the user input. So now I'll give you the very simple example of entity and intent. So intent is like how people are asking questions, like what is maybe they can ask like they can ask like what is the what is machine learning, let's say. So they can ask what is machine learning, or they can ask like what is artificial intelligence, they can ask what is Python, they can ask what is data science. So they are talking about different terms altogether. So the question, the text that they have given, they are talking about technologies. Like they're asking about technologies. So intent could be like about technologies. And in that technology, what is different? Like once they said what is machine learning, again they said what is data science, then again say what is, Python and all. So these three are the different, like data science, machine learning, and Python. These are the different. So we call that the entity. Like for example, I call you entities. We can give that a name. So entities like technology, right? Or you could say as skills. So technology is the one entity under which we have different names like machine learning, data science, Python, and all. You can give entity any name. So let's say I say, for example, we're talking about any person, or you say what is the, or you're talking about, let's say, uh, the author of that particular book is XYG. Let's say you say about it. So the author of that book is this. So the book and the author, name of the author, these two are the intent there. And maybe you're talking about that the timing of train going from this place to this is what, or maybe what is the capital of India. So the capital of India is kind of entity which is a city or the location maybe, right? Might be you're booking, you're booking a flight. So you know what is the you're telling about I want to go from this place to this place. So that will be a location. So that again is an entity. So entity, I'll discuss that part again in later. So entity is kind of a specific information in which we have a different way of talking it. Like entity location, under that we have Delhi, Noida, Jaipur, Mumbai, n number of options we can have. So we call that entity. And the intent is like the context of the conversation that you are saying. There are different way of calling it. Like what is the capital of India? Do you know the capital of India? I mean, India's capital is Delhi a capital of India? So there are different way of asking it the same question. So we call it that comes under one intent, and that is intent for the programming and the system. So that entire flow is there in Rasa NLU. So Rasa NLU understand the text and extract the intent out of it and see whether we do have any entities available. If yes, what is that entity? So that all whole classification is done under Rasa NLU. The next part is Rasa code. So Rasa code is like it core is like something it predict what could be the next response, or what based on the conversation history, what could be the response out of it. So in the Rasa core, basically we are predicting. So let's say initially maybe you're asking about the name of the person or the location from which place it goes, and what is the location of that. So maybe the response, what could be the response of this question, that is designed under Rasa core. So we it's kind of a conversation flow designing in which we predict what could be the best response out of it. Correct? So that's a basic understanding of Rasa NLU and Rasa code. Now let's talk about, there are multiple things altogether in Rasa NLU, Rasa, what is the role of NLP, and how NLU work, that I defined right now. Again, a natural language generation as well. Like whatever the text input you give to the machine, it is kind of a that is going to be converted into the form of binary or the vectors. So basically natural language generation is converting the structured data into text. Process turns structured data into text. And what is NLU? NLU is basically a narrower term of NLP. So, but it is really important. It's really important to understand these three terms altogether. So I'll create a separate video to have a detailed discussion out of it. So the next thing that we discuss about, like I have suggested to start with the Rasa framework out of the different the technologies or framework available in the market, like IBM Watson, Google Dialogflow, Microsoft Boat framework, and we can build the basic chatbots using NLTK and all as well. But why we have used Rasa here? So first of all, Rasa has is open source. It's kind of it's more humanoid bot. It learns from the pattern that you have given. We don't have to write a typical code here, and we can customize our responses as well here. So Rasa framework, although we have an enterprise version as well available in Rasa, so in which we have Rasa X that also don't require typical coding from the backend. From the UI itself, you design your intent and extract your entities and design the flow of the conversation, write your utters and all. So that's why we have used Rasa. We are using Rasa here. It's kind of a more human. It learns from the patterns and it's open source so that we can download and start using it. We don't have to pay anything to do it. So I will be discussing about the pros and cons of Rasa. So the first pro is it can be deployed on your own server by keeping all the component in house. You don't have to deploy it to the other company's server. Everything should be there in house. So that is the first pros. Maybe you have a data security reasons and you don't want to share your data to someone, so you can have that in house and use Rasa for that purpose. Next is highly customizable. As I said, it's up to you that how you want to customize it. So the lot of customization scope is there in Rasa. You can add different features and you can write using Python or maybe Node.js is also there to write the custom actions there. We call that the backend of the Rasa. So we can use it like that. Third is it allows multiple environment for development, staging and production. So like you can create different environment like dev, test UAT, production and all. So it helps you to follow the agile methodology, and so that we can have a proper development strategies to be there. Next is Rasa offers analytics of various data that allows you to understand customer better. So basically, kind of like once you have created a basic bot, you launch it. So and you give that to the people so that they can use it. So you see that how people are coming, what are the questions they are responding, where your bot got failed. So from that learning, you again return your model and make it more useful to the end users. So you see it like how you can improvise it. Next is it is completely based on the interactive learning. That's what I said now. And it learns from the patterns. I mean, the more you use and more it will be able to understand that what are the different way of asking questions and how we can respond it. So these are the positive parts of using Rasa. Everything do have pros and cons. So Rasa also do have certain cons. It's like it's not exactly suitable for the beginners. As I already said, if you do not have understanding of NLP and you do not understand the basics of Python and all, you don't understand what is intent entity and how to write response, what is the meaning of utter. So you can't directly use Rasa. You should be able to understand it. What are these common terms, how NLP works. So first you should know that. And you can also integrate it with like multiple platforms. You can integrate it with the Teams, integrated Facebook Messenger. You can add it to Slack, Telegram, or you can add it to as a plugin to your website. So you can use it anywhere. So these are the integration stuff that you can use. You run it locally. You have your own data in your own premises. You can tune model of your use case. So these are some major stuffs that makes Rasa kind of a good choice to use it. So that's why we are using Rasa. So we got a bit understanding of Rasa. Now we will be learning by doing it. So the first very important stuff is to get our system ready to use Rasa. So we will be discussing about the environment setup. We will see how to set up the Rasa on your system in our next video. Till then, take care and bye-bye. Happy learning.